So, hi, Luis and Chef Giovanni. I am so happy to be speaking with you both and having you guys tell us a story about Cuba through Calle Ocho. Y'all are up in the Upper West Side there in New York City. So tell me a little bit about you both and what y'all do over there and how long, the establishment has been there.
Hi, Fred. Well, this restaurant was founded in November 1998. So we've been in business for a little over 21 years. Mm-hmm. And my name is Luis Piedra, the General Manager.
Hello, my name is Giovanni. I'm the chef of cuisine.
Awesome. So that's great. Wow, you guys have a long history already. So tell me a little bit about how did the passion form? So the restaurant's been there for a while, and Chef Gio, you've been there. Both of you. I mean, Luis, you're managing it, and Chef Gio, you're cooking everything. So how did that passion form for that cultural expression behind Cuba? And tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it's back in the 90s, it was a very few restaurants that was bringing the Latin community up. And then the owner of the restaurant found Alex Garcia, who's Cuban. And he was like, what better chef to start Calle Ocho, representing Cuban cuisine and Spanish related to it. And one of the owners went down to Central America and came back with the idea of, you know what? Latin cuisine is the best cuisine to open up. And then let's call Calle Ocho. And then that's pretty much how Calle Ocho came on board and then opened in 1998 with Alex Garcia, the original chef from Cuba. And then, of course, Giovanni Ventura, the chef now, he's same school as Alex Garcia. He worked with Alex Garcia and Patra along, and then he came on board on 2001? Yeah, 2000. So year 2000, so literally just 2 years after Calle Ocho was opened.
Wow, got it. So see, even that is something interesting. So see, I don't know very much Spanish. So what Calle Ocho, I was even pronouncing it wrong. So what does that mean? What's the name? What's the story behind the name?
Calle Ocho is based in Miami. There's Calle Ocho Festival they used to do every year on 8th Street in Miami. Okay. So, and Calle Ocho represents the Latin community in Cuba. So that's where the name came, Calle Ocho. So once you say Calle Ocho, everybody knew like, oh, Cuba in Miami. It's like little Havana. So that's where the Calle Ocho came.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's telling, because that's something I saw is, your whole thing is about little Havana, like in New York City, like bringing that to the Upper West Side. So that makes sense now. That's actually really interesting that's a story behind that. So it's even in the name that, the culture is present, you know what I mean? Well, tell me a little bit then about, so you've been there then, Chef Gio, you've been there since, almost 20 years. And tell me a little bit about the menu choices. How are those characterized in Cuba? Like, is it regional? Are there some, you know what I mean? Like, are there regions or the popularity of the general public? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, at the beginning we were doing very, very classical dishes. As we progressed, we started dealing with new purveyors and local purveyors. We have been developing our kitchen into Latin, Cuban style with local ingredients too as well. That's something that we had worked on our menu throughout the years. One main thing about Calle Ocho is the sense of family that we have here. And that's why it keeps us going on a daily basis here. And then all our recipes are reflected on our abuelitas or our mom, the recipes, and we're trying to do different things here at Calle Ocho.
Got it. Okay. And so, Luis, I'm curious, what about on the front of the house when your customers come in? I mean, that experience, it's like they get to experience Cuba. Like, what are some things that you feel best characterized, or that you hear from them, or like, oh my gosh, I've had this, or oh, this is, you know what I mean? Tell me, is there any stories about that?
Oh, definitely. We get clientele or guests from everywhere, and then once we get Cuban guests that want to try something very traditional, I always go with the vaca frita or the Cubano Clásico, which are the two staple dishes that we have on the menu. And then once you talk about those dishes, they just go like berserk. They're like, I can't believe you guys have Cubano Clásico, vaca frita. And then I explain them what exactly it is in it. And that's a win-win for us. Because they're like, I came from Miami to Calle Ocho just because Cubano Clásico, the vaca frita. And then once they try it, they're like blown away. They're like unbelievable how great these dishes are. And it brings them back home. Or some people who were born in Cuba and wanted to try something traditional, that's what they get for it.
Yeah, so they get to really experience it when they come in. And that's great that even, you know, folks who grew up with those dishes, that they find, like, you know, they remember, it brings them back to that. So that's definitely like really, really authentic. Well, and you mentioned some, you know, some new composed dishes or some, you know, I'm sure that there's some inspired dishes too that kind of add a little bit of creativity. Do you have any of those that maybe come to mind that are really popular, that, you know, that kind of echo traditional Cuban cuisine in terms of ingredients, but maybe you prepare them a little different?
El lechon.
Yeah.
The lechon is a good, great candidate to showcase Cuban cuisine. Basically, we were doing a little twist on it, and just to get, you know, to go with the times that we're living, and that plate will give us a very, very nice flavor profile for it.
Got it. No, that's great. And I saw that there's a lot of variety, and I'm curious a little bit more about kind of the character, right? So when it comes to recipes, presentation, the tradition, the culture, you know, you, Chef Gio, working with Alex and, you know, with the menu, what are some defining qualities, you know?
Yeah, our defining quality, I think, is being consistency. Consistency in terms of, you know, we have the same employees that have been working with us for 18, 19, 20 years. We've been dedicating ourselves to those dishes to keep the recipe as they were at the beginning when we started. And that is something that is, that's why we had succeed so many years, just because of the consistency on the flavor and the presentations, and that's our main focus on.
Got it. Yeah, and actually that sounds really. When it comes to culture, it's kind of like, you know, when people are coming into the restaurants, like coming into someone's home. So it's like these tried and true things where they can come in and feel, you know, a sense of, like a sense of, you know what I mean? It's just because even the country itself, it's been there. It's been there. The traditions are there. The recipes are there, and that you all haven't been able to capture that in the last 20 years, nearly 20 years. And people can come in and consistently experience that with, you know, throughout your menu. What about, you know, tell me a little bit about the behind you there, the bar. I hear you're saying sangrias. Tell me a little bit about the, you know, the drinks and some things that maybe showcase, you know, Cuban culture through your drink menu.
What do you see behind us? As a rounded wall that looks like polka dots. So that it's a rounded wall that's been with us since we opened, and we used to make mojitos. Well, we still make mojitos, but we used to have contests of mojitos, or bartenders, how many mojitos they will sell in one night. We celebrate also 1 million mojitos few years ago. Well, many years ago. And then we also had the pocket that's made into glasses, so we could sell the mojitos into that. So mojitos also like a staple for us. Like we were known for the mojitos. And I hear stories about guests that they come and have our mojitos because they said that they tried so many places and nothing like the mojito at Calle Ocho. And we tell them it's all about the recipe, and then that you make them with love, that you want to represent the restaurant, not only themselves, but just the restaurant itself. So every single guest that comes in, they enjoy the mojito. So that's what the rounded wall is, representing the mojito. And of course, we also have the sangrias, all those sangrias from Spain, but in Cuba also they drink a lot of the sangria.
Right.
We took it to the next level because there's always like a white sangria, a red sangria, and a lot of people think that, oh, I didn't know there was a white sangria. But we took it to the next level. Like I said, we have 10 different flavors now.
Wow.
So 5 whites and 5 reds. And then the difference on it is the spirits that we use on making the sangria. Of course, the base is always going to be the wine. And then the spirits change. We use vodka, rum, tequila, different barrel spirits, mama juana, coconut rum. So all these different spirits goes in different flavor sangrias. And, you know, the names are also very catchy and very unique, like Spanish Harlem, Samba, Granada, the Roja. Then on the whites, we have Tropical, Punta Cana, Havana Banana. And all those names very staple to different countries. And then that's where we characterize and become unique on the drinks that we make and then the food that we prepare and we serve to our guests.
Got it. Yeah. And of course, you know, the mojitos, like, I totally follow that. And the fact that you've got that beautiful wall there behind you, kind of paying tribute to that culturally, is really cool. So in terms of, you know, let's talk a little bit about travel. I know, you know, right now that with the climate, everything, you know, traveling to Cuba is a bit difficult, but the spirit and way of life of the people transcends anything, right? And so tell me a little bit about the spirit or way of life, the Cuban culture, the people that you kind of carry through the experience at your restaurant. You talked a little bit about the bar. What else kind of is, you know, evoked through the senses there at Calle Ocho?
Well, like the chef said, we want to stay unique and keep all the flavor profiles. And also every single guest that comes in, we want to make them feel home. So when they come in, we're very friendly from the beginning. From the moment they get here to they'll say goodbye. And then the only reason how we can do it is just if we train our staff to be diligent about knowledge in food and in drinks, knowing our product, what we sell, and representing what Latin community is, the Cuban dishes. So we don't want to let anything die or disappear little by little. We want to stay in the community. We want to represent the Cuban dishes, and we want to stay open for 10 or 20 more years.
And so I don't think you'll have trouble with that. I mean, you're 20 years in and you've been able to represent something. Very happy to sound like, they're like, oh my gosh, you know, the Cubano classical, like you make it, can't believe it. So things like that. I feel like
the tough times, trust me, it hasn't been easy, but we're managing.
Yeah, no, that's really great. And what about the sights, the sounds, music? I mean, kind of the ambiance, the decor. What do you feel is unique that someone might walk in and just be like, oh my God, this feel, you know, like especially for those that have been able to go over there, you feel comes through?
The salsa music is what we play every day, all day and night. And that's who we are. Very lively, a little bit on the louder side. Some people might complain like, oh, it's a little too loud, but that's who we are.
Yeah.
We're Latinos, so Latinos tend to be a little bit louder. Our music is a little bit on the louder side, but of course we can always lower a little bit. But salsa is what we play. Salsa is from the beginning. Like I'm a Latino, chef Latino. I play salsa at home. I work 8-10 hours. I get home, I still play salsa. When I wake up, I still play salsa. That's who we are.
Right. So you live life. This isn't work. This is life.
Yeah, exactly.
This is life. So you all carry that through, and people can experience that. And you're right. That's something that's beautiful about, you know, Latin culture, Cuban culture, is that it is loud. It's fun and it's warm, and your staff sounds like they carry that through. And kind of that spirit and way of life is maintained. So they really, you know, folks get really a taste of Cuba when they come in, and the way that they're treated, you know, your menu, the decor, all of that really comes through. No, that's really amazing. And now let's talk a little bit about dessert. So we talked a little bit about the main dishes that are really popular, some of the drinks, the mojito, and some of the spirits that you use there. What's the dessert menu like? What does that showcase about Cuba?
Well, our menu is such a great. I'm sorry that I took your words for it. I love the domino. We have a cake called Domino Pastelita, which is a chocolate cake, and it literally has the domino dots on it.
Okay.
On the cake. So when we serve, it's like 2 pieces of domino on a plate, and then guests sees the dominoes on the plate and they go banana. They want to play with it. So that's what we represent. And I'm sorry I took your words, but
no, you
explain better.
Then we have the cocos too as well, which is they're great. They're dipped in bitter chocolate. They have the coconut flakes. Different coulis, like a mango coulis too as well. And those 2 dishes and the flan of cocoa as well too. We got a coconut flan, which is excellent here.
That sounds awesome. Well, the coconut, the mango, the tropical, the dominoes. I could just picture, on the old streets, of Cuba. The locals have been there forever, sitting there playing games of domino. Yeah. Totally authentic. That sounds amazing. I mean, it's so great that you all have been able to keep that kind of, like you were saying, kind of intact and very authentic, and people get that. It's a way of life for you. It's not just, okay, 9 to, the 11 to 10 or whatever the hours are of, of the job, right? Of owning a restaurant that, evokes that spirit and way of life of Cuba. People can really get that when they come in. And then in terms of the appetizers, now I know I'm backing up a little bit, but we can't end this without talking about the appetizers. What about that? What kind of showcase do you have there in Cuban cuisine?
The camarones are a great example of it, which had been with us since almost the beginning too as well. Basically, it's our tiger shrimp sauteed in a barrilito rum and glaze. And that one is with a crispy onion. And those one is one of the most iconic appetizers here.
Well, no, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And I feel like I can hear that salsa. I don't hear it, but I feel like as soon as you said salsa, like I could just picture what this is like people coming in and experiencing that. And what are your hours?
We open 7 nights a week. Hours change a little bit due to the COVID regulations, but we open 7 nights a week from 5 to 10 p.m. And Saturdays and Sundays, we do brunch from 11 to 3 p.m. And on brunches, we do complimentary sangria. All you can drink for an hour and a half.
Oh, wow.
For those early timers that like to go out for brunch,
right,
they can come and enjoy.
Unlimited sangria. Hey, I think you've got a lot of people just on that. And I really want to encourage everyone to come and experience you and your menu and the salsa music and the coconut, the mango, the mojito, the Cubano Plastico, all of that, like that they can experience, and the little domino on top of the dessert. That just seals it right there. That's as Cuban as you can get.
That's a must.
Exactly. Thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been a pleasure. And then, hopefully we'll stay open for, like I said, at least 10 more years.
Absolutely. No, continued. You can't, another 20, 30.
Yeah.
Okay.